So we'll move on to the next problem.
Hi ma'am, my name is Anis VM. I am a final year BTech student of KME Engineering College.
Okay.
I have a doubt. My friend, 15 years old, he always urinate in the bed at night time.
Okay.
What's the remedial measurement against this?
Or to prevent this?
Yeah.
I think
that is from his
Yes.
from his question. What we call this is a medical condition called as nocturnal enuresis. That is passing urine in the bed at night time.
Especially at this age.
At 15 years is quite a high age for not having control over his bladder. But then here again it is now understood that it is a behavioral disorder or a learning disorder of the bladder, where the bladder has forgotten that it shouldn't leak without the master's permission. So it has to be retrained. So he has to get it trained how to control his bladder. So this is more common in children of parents who had bedwetting when they were.
There is a family history of bedwetting.
Family history. Normally, this bedwetting gets controlled by around 15 years of age.
Okay.
But when we analyze this history, we find that at least once in one night, the concerned person wets his bed. So we have to go to a family history here first. Take whether the parents were bedwetting, number one.
Okay.
Number two is from what age did he have his normal urinary control, because normally boys will have urinary control by around 2.5 to 3 years of age.
Okay.
So if he is a primary enuresis person, that is, he's never had a nighttime bladder control till this age, 15 years.
That means he was always
wetting, wetting from childhood.
Okay.
And whether it was a secondary, that is, he had a normalcy in between and then he started it all over again.
That means he was dry at night for some time and then again started. Okay.
It's very difficult to treat the primary person, but it's easy to treat the secondary person.
Okay.
So secondary person, it may be related to some urinary infections. It may be related to some other things, so which we have to do. But the primary thing we have to do is we have to get the proper history. At what time of the night is he bedwetting? So ideally we tell them to have a bladder control. That's by keeping an alarm clock by his side so that he gets up just before he leaks. So if he leaks at around 12:30 or 1 o'clock at night, we ask the parent to set the alarm to around 12 o'clock.
Okay.
And by hearing this alarm, he has to get up.
Oh, okay.
Not somebody goes and wakes him up.
So
if somebody goes and wakes him
yeah.
up, he may not control it very
he
well.
May pass up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one parent is advised.
Okay.
That's one thing. The second thing is he should not take any diuretics. That is, things that produce excessive urine at night.
Okay.
So after 6 o'clock, we ask the parents not to feed them with fluids. Then we advise him not to have too much sweet dishes or sweet tasty food at bedtime.
Okay.
Chocolates are to be avoided. And make sure that he's not constipated, all those things.
Oh, will this constipation
Also can.
Okay.
So, and the last thing is to give prescribed drugs.
Okay.
Most of the drugs won't work. And I think behavioral therapy is the one that works better.
Okay. Right.
And there are drugs which are given, and in non-responders we try drugs also. But even without drugs, some of them will have a self-limiting by around 18 years of age.
Okay.
So they don't carry it into their adulthood. That's what we have seen. Very rarely some persons are reported to us with adult enuresis.
That means most of them will be having some underlying problem.
Some underlying problems will have to be diagnosed in